zusammen die Geschichte über den Schweinkopf und Hund und dem lieben Red Baron.
Okay, well, last night I had the game on for about good 2 hours or a little more, and I was working on finishing up the marquee and doing some work on the coin door, and I decided to take a break and play a game. I came over here and I put a token in and fired the game up and started playing, and I kind of noticed that the top of the screen where the score is and everything seemed to be low and like it was off center. So I put it in test mode, and you can see it is off center. I went and this game board has been updated with the XY position pots, which normally aren't populated on the board. So I was able to use the Y pot and adjust it back up just a little bit, but it still doesn't have enough travel to go all the way up. So obviously I have a problem. And first I was thinking it was the monitor, but I went ahead and moved my asteroids next to the Red Baron and unplugged the output from the Red Baron and plugged it into my Go5, which is in the asteroids, and I was getting the exact same screen. It was the exact same thing. So that lets me know that it is definitely a board problem. So I got checking, and I've talked to a couple people. I've talked to Mr. Bill, and he told me I could send it back to him. I didn't get it directly from him. I got it from Joe, but Bill is the one that, well, I got it 2 years ago, so who knows when he did the repair. But as old as these boards are, something can fail every time you fire it up. So I think what I'm going to do is, I also talked to Mike, Roadrunner, and he said he's seen the problem with the screen shifting is sometimes the op amp on the XY output. In this case it would be the Y output, and it's a TL082, I believe. And if you go down here, you can see this is the centering pot, and that's the other centering pot. And the chip in question is this chip right here. So I'm thinking that chip is bad. The op amp on the output of the Y signal. So I'm going to go ahead. I have those in my parts bin. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the board out and replace that chip and see if that's the problem. Okay, well, this is what I think is bad. The TL082 is an op amp, and it's right here at the output stage of the Y output. The reason I think it's bad is because this is the Y centering pot that was added to the board, and it functions. You can turn this pot and the image will move up and down on the screen. It's just that it's not enough travel. It's off center, and this pot is in the circuit right behind D10, this op amp here. So that's why I'm thinking that there's something wrong with the output of this op amp. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it. And D10 is right here on the board. It's this chip right here, and we're going to replace it. Got a new chip here, and I got a machine pin socket. So I'm going to go ahead and put a machine pin socket in. That way, if it ever goes bad in the future, all I have to do is pop the chip out and pop another one in. I don't think that'll be a problem, because I've heard, I've read on the vector list and several other places that people have replaced this op amp and put a socket in its place. So we're going to go ahead and change it now, and hopefully that's going to take care of our problem. But don't know. I mean, it could be other things, but that's the most obvious and the easiest to swap out, and I have it already. You can get those anywhere. I keep a limited supply of IC chips. Whenever I have a problem and one goes bad, I'll order some extras and I just put them in a bin and have everything marked. And if it turns out to be something else here, I might order some chips, so I might just go ahead and send this in to Mr. Bill and let him work his magic on it. So we'll hold our breath long enough to put this chip in and find out if this will fix our problem. Okay, well, let's get started. I'm going to start by removing the chip. Alright, first I have to find where the chip is on the board here. Okay, there it is right there. Sometimes it helps to hold a light underneath the board so you can see the outline of the chip and know exactly where it is. Make sure this isn't stopped up. Got two of them that look like came loose too good here. Let's see. That one's loose. That one's loose. That one's loose. That one is. That one. Those two right there look like they didn't come clean, so I'll add a little bit of solder to them and suck them back out again. Alright, let's go to another try. should come out now. Alright, it's just being stubborn. It's loose. Okay, it came off. Looks fine. Somebody put that in, they bent the terminals over. I hate it when they bend the terminals over. Okay, that side looks good. This side looks good. So we can go ahead and put the socket in. Put a little solder on the tip and tack one of them down. Check it and make sure it's in there flat. And it is. Go ahead and solder it in. Okay, that should do it. Look good on that side. Alright. Make sure we get our new chip. all done. Now we can put it in and check it out and see if we got a working board. Alright, here we go. We're going to turn it on, see what happens. And it appears we have success. The picture is way up above the top of it because I had it turned all the way trying to adjust it up. Now that the op amp is working correctly, now it's too high, so I'm going to have to adjust it back down. So that's good. I'm happy. Okay, now let me see if I can do this. Get my mirror in the right place here so I can see it from behind. And kind of do this on the fly here. Okay, that's one of the best things I ever bought. It's one of those little cheap flexible mirrors like you hang on a closet door. You can stand it up and aim it anywhere, and you can see your picture right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see. This pot right here is the Y centering pot. So we'll go ahead and adjust it right down. Perfect. Alright, let's go take a look at it here. Alright, now we've got a little border around all the way around there. Might have to do a little tweaking because I never got the pattern tweaked, but I can tweak it up with the board and the adjustments on the board there. But that's looking pretty close right there. So let's take it out of test mode. And there we go. Looks like it's back to normal. So now we'll just let it run a while and play a few games and see what happens. Okay, back to the Red Baron board set again. Had it working and had the game just about finished all I was going to do to it. And it was on for about 3 hours. And then I happened to notice that the monitor went blank. So I looked and the spot killer was on. So I cut the game off, unplugged the monitor, turned it back on, checked all my voltages. All my voltages were spot on. I checked the voltages on the output of the XY here, and last time I had a problem with the op amp on the Y output. This time it seems like the X output has gone bad, and this time it's completely gone. I'm actually getting a minus 12 DC volts at the output right here, the X out. So I got checking. It's in a track mode right now, and this is the op amp on the Y output that I replaced before, and pin 1 is the output on it. And if I put my logic probe on it, okay, you can see low and then it pulses. Okay, if I go down here to the same op amp, the TL082, this one is at A10. This one here is for the X output. And if I put it on pin number 1, this is what I get. Just a solid low, like it's shorted. because voltage reading on the output is, like I said, around the -10, -12 volt range. I checked the output of the DAC, both the X and the Y, and I'm getting basically the same thing. So I mean the input I'm getting. So you know, I'm getting activity like I'm supposed to on the input of the DACs. So I'm pretty sure my problem again is this op amp has gone bad. So we're going to go ahead and pull the board back out and do the same thing we did before. Install a socket and put a new op amp in it. Okay, well here we go again. We're going to go ahead and change A10, which is another op amp, TL082. So, like last time, we'll start by taking the old chip out. Alright, let's find the chip. There it is right there. One more. Alright, last time it looks like two of them not wanting to cooperate. Just add a little bit of new solder to them. And let's try it again. Alright, let's see how that worked. Looks like they might all be loose but that one. Two still not loose. We'll try one more time. Okay, came loose that time. And come right out. Okay, traces look good there. Good on that side. So we'll put our socket in. Alright, check out the solder joints real good. Looks good on that side. I'm going to hit one more. Make sure that solder got all the way through. Looks good. Alright, now we put the new chip in. Okay, now all we gotta do is put the board in and cross our fingers. Okay, well, we got the board back in, everything's plugged in. Plug the monitor back in, power on. See what happens. Crossing fingers. All right, that was it. We're 2 for 2 now. Okay, we got it in the test pattern, and everything's looking great. So that makes 2 op amps going out on this board within 3 hours of each other. The first one in the Y section and the second one in the X output. Well, I wonder what will happen next. Only time will tell. Well, the FedEx man brought us another piece of the puzzle today. This is all the way from Reno, Nevada. I found somebody who was parting out a battle zone. So I was going to wait and try to get one of the reproductions, which has been rumored now for, I don't know, a good while. Ah, spiders! I had this sitting outside, so it might have came from outside, I hope. We do have a spider problem here in the garage. Well, we're not in the garage. Out in the, it used to be like an attached garage to the house, or semi-attached. The garage is in the backyard. But anyway, supposedly we have a battle zone step, which, as you know, is the same as Red Baron. And it's very well packed, and the pictures I've seen of it look like it was in pretty good condition. Just as good, if not better condition than my cabinet was. Well, I'd have to say better condition than my cabinet was, because my cabinet, as you've seen if you watched the first videos, wasn't all there. Okay. Not too worried about all the mess, because I got a mess in here. It's got to be all vacuumed up anyway. But this foam is flaking and really making a mess here. Alright, supposedly it was a little gift in there. Unreal Slots, custom 53 card deck. I have to get into that and see what that is. Take a look at that later. So I imagine Reno is a big gambling town. Alright, get this out of the way. Let's put that down there for now. Okay, well, as you can see, it has the mounting studs, the nuts, the lock washers, and the flap washers. So it's ready to install. And of course, it's just like I imagined it would be. Somebody has added this piece of metal angle on the front here and put a gazillion screws in it. And it's got some bends in it from being banged around. Oh boy, I'm going to have to take this outside and vacuum it. See, all the foam is in it. But this is the first step I've seen. I didn't know how it was constructed. I didn't know it had a open spot in here like this. I was assuming it probably did from the pictures I've seen of them. But it does have the leg adjusters, levelers on them. So it ought to clean up pretty nice, and I may pull this off eventually. Might put some, well, actually that would probably clean up pretty good. Take and scrub it with a wire brush. That's what I did to the gray floor mat in my Star Trek cockpit, and that came out pretty good. So I might give that a try here on this one. And since screws are going in this rubber step, maybe it's not a whole lot of damage on that. Somebody might have put this on there years ago for protection, and it might be like brand new under there. I don't know. Don't remember. It's probably got a rolled edge on it right here anyway. Got that one bend right there. So I could either pull this off and see how it looks, but it's probably going to have a bunch of little holes in it. Could probably get new material maybe, but we'll see. We'll clean it up. It's something to work with anyway, just like the cabinet was. I just have to go over it and look at it, and it ought to match the cabinet just like it is. Just clean it up a little bit and stick it right on. Alright, we're going to start on this battle zone step. already brushed it off. It was quite dusty. And it's got a lot of dirt in these ribs and this black mat here that's covered with. And somebody had put this piece of angle bar on it, and it's got a bend in it right here. Actually, the angle bar doesn't look bad if it wasn't for this bend right here. So I'm going to start by taking this gazillion screws out that somebody put in it and taking this off and see what it looks like under this corner. If it doesn't look too bad, I might leave it off, but I'm thinking that since they put all these holes for the screws in it, that might kind of show up and it might not look so good after I clean it. Or it might look okay. I don't know, but we'll go ahead and first see how deep these screws are. Hoping they didn't put screws that were 1.5 inches long in this thing. I wish I had my power screwdriver. I hid it away somewhere and can't find it. Wow. Okay. Must have been only screws I had on hand. Okay, that looks like we got the same number on the bottom as we did on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and finish taking these off and I'll be back. Okay, well, I got all the screws out of here. So now let's reveal what's under this corner here. Okay, it's just a cheap piece of tin angle. Not much to it. So I could probably take and put it in a vise and beat that out and then repaint it and put it back on. And I see why they put it on here, because it started to peel in a couple places here. So that don't look too good. So the way I see it, I got two options. I can clean it up like it is, beat this corner out, repaint it, and put it back on, and go with it like it is. Or I can see if I can find this mat material and go ahead, and looks like I have to pull the T-molding off, because it looks like the mat is up underneath the edge of the T-molding. But I don't know how much. And get some new mat, put new mat on it. But for the time being, I probably don't have to do that, because the sides are covered into white vinyl like the side art is. So when I get around to redoing the side art, I'll probably pull the step back off and put new vinyl on the sides, go ahead and recover the step, and put new T-molding on it. So for the time being, because I didn't do the outside of the cabinet yet, I'm going to leave it like it is. I'm just going to go ahead and clean this dirt, clean this mat up, and probably see if I can put this in the vise and bang this out and repaint it and put it back on and let it go for the time being. I think that's a pretty good option. So we'll go ahead and see if we can't clean this mat up. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and spray it down with some simple green. And I'll take a wire brush, just start scrubbing with the the ribbing. Okay, well that does a pretty good job of cleaning that rubber up. You get these fine wire brush like that, a good clean wire brush, not something that you've been using on grease and rust and everything else. And the little bristles just get in the grooves and cleans it up real nice. So now we'll go ahead and clean the end up here, and then we'll clean the vinyl off on the sides, and should have a pretty good handle on it. Makes a little mess, but it's unavoidable. Usually I would do this outside, but it's a little cool outside, and it's dark. I don't have any lights out there, so I just work in here on this plastic portable table with minimal cleanup, so work out pretty good. Okay, well there it is. Came out fairly clean, so I think it'll be okay. Even the vinyl, the white on the sides cleaned up pretty good. So a few little smudges wouldn't come out, but I get that angle straightened up and painted and put it back on there, and may end up leaving it like that unless I can find some of this rubber mat that matches the original. So we'll just see how it goes. Alright, well we're going to see if we can't straighten this bend up on the edge of this real thin sheet metal that's bent into a piece of angle. So I'm going to start by just putting it in the vise and just seeing if we can't sort of bend it back in place, but the vise is so thin. It actually worked pretty well. Now we'll turn it around and see if we can't straighten this side up. Alright, well that straightened it up pretty good. We still got a little bump in it there. So let's see if we can't flatten that bump out just a little bit maybe. Almost like you're doing sheet metal work on a car. Actually, it's not looking too bad. Actually, I think that's going to be good enough. I'll take and sand it down a little bit. That ought to smooth it out a little bit more. Maybe I'll give it a A couple more little taps on this side here. Alright, I think we're off to the sander now. Well, actually, this will be just as good a place as any to sand it, so there we go. Okay, I basically just wanted to smooth it up a little bit, but as you can see where the bend was here, it's not looking too bad. It's not going to be perfect, but once you get a coat of paint on it, it's going to be better than what it looked anyway. So now we'll go ahead and we'll throw some paint on it and let it dry, and maybe we'll be able to reinstall it come tomorrow. Okay, well, I'm going to use some Rust-Oleum appliance epoxy high gloss black to paint this. Figured it might hold up to foot traffic a little better. Turn it around here. Alright, that ought to be good enough. Now we'll just let that dry overnight, and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Okay, well, we got the piece of angle painted and ready to put back on. And it doesn't look too bad. So now we just have to put these screws back in. They got 22 screws in this thing. You reckon that's enough to hold it? Yeah, I reckon. So anyway, we'll start with the ones on the end. Just to make sure we got it lined up. And we'll put a couple in the middle. I imagine they put so many screws in this thing because this is such a thin piece of tin. It almost looks like they took a piece of sheet metal and just bent it. Alright, well, we're just going to go ahead and put these in real quick. Try to speed things up as much as I can here. Okay, well, the step is ready to be bolted on. So this step here came with all the nuts and washers and everything needed to put it on. Now if we look in the cabinet here, have access right here, and it appears only one of the nuts is on this side here. And if we go over here and look on the other side, around the corner, we only got one on that side. So somebody only had two nuts holding the step on anyway, but that's not what caused it to fail. Somebody broke it off. I guess they leaned the cabinet forward, and when they put all that weight on the front of the step, I'm sure that's what broke it off. You definitely can't, when you put the step on, tilt the cabinet forward on that step, because that's a sure sign to break it off. So anyway, we'll go in here with a socket wrench and remove the remains of the old step so we can put the new one on. Okay, well, we got the nuts loose, so let's take the remains of the old step out. And not much left of it. And we'll go ahead and we'll clean that off and put the new step back on. Okay, well, let's see how it lines up. Hopefully it'll go in without a whole lot of problems here. And it looks like it lines up pretty good. And the leg levelers are all the way up, so I need to put something under it to sort of wedge it up. Let's see if maybe the screwdriver will prop under it. That might be enough for it. Let's see if I can go get the washers and nuts on. Okay, well, let's see if we can get these on here. Shouldn't be too bad. Put a flat wash on first. Then a lock washer. And then the nut. It's still on a slight angle, so I might have to tighten that bottom one up a little bit to pull the step up in order to get the top nut on straight. It's just barely had enough threads to get started. Yeah, it pulled it on in. Okay, that does it for that side. Now do the same thing for the other side and we'll be done. Okay, now we'll get these last two nuts on. First we'll put on a flat washer and a lock washer. Then the nut. And same thing to the bottom one. Flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. Alright, that should be snugged up good enough. Now the step is all done. Alright, that pretty much does it for inside the cabinet, except I do need to staple this piece of cardboard back on here. I'm pretty sure what this does is when you got your coin box sitting in here, it's like a little fence to keep any tokens that might miss, jam up and roll on top of the box, to keep them from rolling down and rolling on top of anything here, like your fuses here, to short anything out. But haven't found my upholstery stapler yet, so that's not high on my priority right now. Once I find that stapler, I'll put that back on. Everything else I think is ready to button up the back of the cabinet. We'll put our back door on, and then we'll be able to move the cabinet in position. Okay, we're ready to put our back door on. Okay. Okay, well, the step is on, and the cabinet has been rearranged a little bit, and it's in its temporary resting spot. I say temporary because I got a lot of things to move around in here. I got some more games I need to work on, and I haven't figured out the exact floor plan yet and whether anything is going to be staying or leaving. But for the time being, our Red Baron project, Red Baron has been saved. It's up and running, and I can play it. And the only thing that I didn't do is basically the sides of the cabinet. And like I said before, I'm not going to mess with the side. I wish this was the side that the art looked better. It's got a big old hunk of Battlezone art showing through there, but it is what it is. I could always flip it around on the other side next to the Star Wars, I guess. And eventually I might do that, but like I say, I got a lot of things to move around in here, and right now that's as good a spot as any to kind of be out of the way for what I got to do. And it's set up to where I can play it. And that's the main thing. That's what counts. It's ready to be played. So we're going to end this video with a little bit of gameplay.
singen zusammen die Geschichte über den Schweinkopf, den Hund und den lieben